Haman, on the other hand, if you read the story, he didn't have any desire to claim the soul of the Jew. He had no interest and had no request for Jews to assimilate or to convert. All he said is, I don't like Jews and I want to kill them. Right? Very much like the Nazis did. They just killed Jews because they were Jewish and they wanted to eradicate the physical existence of Jews. Haman seems to be very much like that. And this is how Judaism explains the reason why the holiday of Purim is celebrated by festivities, very much physically oriented celebration. Festivities, giving gifts of food to each other, matanos levyonim, and mashloach manot. Whereas Hanukkah, the celebration focuses more on the lights, the spiritual side. Because Hanukkah, the threat, the danger was against the spiritual part of the Jewish people. Their souls were threatened, whereas on Purim, their bodies were threatened. But the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, says a remarkable thing that nobody ever said before. That on Purim as well, Jews had a choice. Maybe Haman did not request of the Jewish people to convert, but every Jew knew deep inside that if he or she wanted to escape the annihilation decree of Haman, he could do so by converting to another religion. In the Persian definition of Jewish, of being Jewish, of a Jew, you belong to the Jewish faith. If you converted to another religion, you were no longer defined as a Jew. In that way, the Persians were different than the Nazis. The Nazis didn't care if you convert or not. If your great-grandmother was Jewish, they would kill you. So in that way, the Nazis were actually much worse. But what the Alter Rebbe says, that even in the time of Haman, Haman did not target the soul of the Jew, did not want the Jew to do something that's offensive to his religion, but a Jew had the option to escape. And he says there was an entire year that the entire Jewish nation faced this danger, right? Because Haman, as if you read the story, Haman got Achashverosh the king to sign and seal the decree on Nisan. And a year later, the date set for 11 months later, the months of Adar. So for 11 months, the Jews were facing a terrible ordeal, a terrible fate of annihilation. And not a single Jew entertained the possibility, how can I escape this danger? Let me try to become Persian. I'll convert to the Persian religion. Nobody ever thought, not a single Jew even thought of this idea. Right? It shows that Jews were willing to die to stay Jewish. Now, the Alter Rebbe says the word like this: an entire year, Shana, Kol HaShana, the entire year. He uses an expression, a year. And the Rebbe explains like this: why does he use the word Shana? The entire year. See, the word Shana comes from the word change. Why is a year called in Hebrew Shana? Because Shinui means change. A year comprises of a cycle of time which incorporates seasonal changes. The entire cycle of seasons is incorporated in 1 year. It's showing that the true strength of Jewish commitment lies that a Jew is able to maintain his or her commitment for all different changes of conditions of life. Sometimes a Jew is committed when the circumstances of life support it. When things get a little rough and challenging, it's harder to be Jewish, then the commitment wanes. The strength of the story of Purim is that Jews demonstrated no matter what circumstances prevailed, their commitment did not change. Shana Shlema, the entire year, through all different changes of the year, one thing was static and unchanging, and that's their commitment, and never even for a moment thought that they can escape the danger by abandoning their identity. On that note, we all need strengthening of our identity so we can face all the different changes of the year and changes of circumstances that we face in the world. And the world has just faced one of the most horrific changes in the landscape of anti-Semitism, right? Hate, threat, danger, massacres. And this is the time when Jews have to get even stronger. And we have to learn from the story of Purim. So I just wanted to say that I'm sure you guys have been following what Chabad is up to now, and things have been changing, amazingly through the last few years, to the point where we're facing a crisis, a good crisis, which is that we don't have the ability to accommodate the amount of students that are begging us to bring them in and to take them in. And maybe after October 7th, there's definitely be an increase as well. And we need to respond to that. Students are sitting outside on the front lawn, they're sitting on the deck in the bitter cold winter, and they're willing to come even through winters. See, all the changes of the seasons of the year, it doesn't faze them from coming to Chabad and spending Shabbos with us. Right? They're showing the same commitment as the Jews in the time of Haman. Kol HaShana, the entire year, winter, summer, spring, and fall, you see hundreds and hundreds of kids coming by. And if you tell them there's no room inside, they say, we'll sit outside in the snow. As long as you give us a bowl of matzah ball soup, which Rabbi David prepares. So, guys, we're in the midst of a very important project. And I think Rabbi David will tell you why we called you guys to come here. I know you guys don't have the millions of dollars that we need to cover, but I'll leave David to give you the the layout of what's going on. Okay, I said what I have to say.
Thank you, Rabbi. Hannah, are you going to share something?
Yes, so I just wanted to build on that. I wanted to, in many ways, again, depending on when you were at Cornell, you really would not recognize the difference now. I'll give you an example. Now there used to just be spring break, but now it's February break and March break. At February break, everybody was gone except for the law students. The law students took advantage of there being only no undergraduates, and we filled the room really from door to door. There wasn't a spare seat. That's just with law students. God willing, this new building, as people have asked us, are you going to be able to fill it? What kind of growth have you planned? With COVID and all the other things that have come inside, I can tell you that the new building is going to be filled from the day we open it. There's a separate shul now. There's a separate dining hall. The current space that you're used to will be used for grad students. I hope it's going to require a lot less furniture moving for those of you who used to be part of that furniture moving. But really, it's a very exciting moment. I think it's an opportunity really to respond to the needs. And to us, it's been very, very heartening to see, and at a time which is really a very, very difficult moment on campus and everywhere, really having seen the students come forward. It's wonderful, I have to say. It really warms my heart to see all of you. I'm very excited to see all of you again. And again, we're heading up to 40 years. I'm hoping that once the building is built, all of you will come down and see it to see it in person. And we're very much hoping that you are going to be a part of this really historic growth of Chabad.
Okay, David, explain what we.
Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, okay. First and foremost, it's great to see everyone. It is, and God willing, we'll see each other many more times. So I'm just going to jump straight in. We appreciate your time. We know it's precious. We know you're out there in corporate America, fighting for your bread. I made a few slides. I'm going to share them with you. And can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is literally the view from my office space, which is on the second floor of Chabad. This is what I'm looking down at every day. And the banging and the clanking and everything is going on day after day. This is what's going on behind the back of Chabad. You can see we are 3 months in. We started in December. And just to give you an idea of the layout of what this is going to look like, I just sort of overlaid what some of the expectations are, the way we've designed the space. We're putting in a beautiful brand new base medrash and shul down on the main floor of Chabad. Actually, the new entrance is going to come off Lake Street. So while you can still enter through the main entrance of Chabad, which is the entrance you're all familiar with, there will be actually a new entrance that will enter into the floor where there'll be a base medrash and a shul. At the back in the space, there'll be a beautiful commercial kitchen with a teachable area. It was very important to Khan and Miri that we'd be able to run Jewish cuisine style workshops out of our beautiful commercial kitchen. Thankfully, you probably will be gracious to hear that there'll be many more utilities, more bathroom spaces, which we all know is a challenge with the current main floor of Chabad, only one bathroom servicing these massive crowds that we're seeing. On the second floor, again, this is just my simplified drawings. We're building a beautiful dining hall. This will be a close to 2,000 square foot dining hall, which will host close to 200 students seated around tables with, a gorgeous high ceiling and views over the lake, as you can see in the distance in the picture. So this is all very exciting, and it is really happening, and we are under construction, and we don't want to pause and stop this. We want to see it through till the end and provide the resources that the Jewish community deserves at Cornell. So just a summary of our project. I'm sure you've seen in our emails and you've seen the website now. It's a $7.5 million project. We have committed, some of which has been actually completed, just about 5.2 million, which leaves just under $2.3 million outstanding. While the commitment is large, and we felt that it was necessary to start because we feel the pinch on a weekly basis. We feel like this is enough to give us the momentum to complete the project. Obviously, there's still a large outstanding amount that we need to cover. And for those people who would like to see the project page, this is the page, chabadcornell.com build. I put it in the text message with many of you, so I'm sure by this point you've seen it. But that's the page which is going to show the progress of the campaign. And we are starting now to really reach out beyond our network to other people. And given that you guys have shown already support for Chabad, you're the people that we feel closest with, you're our alumni. There are still many more who didn't make it to this call, who couldn't make it, and I'm recording this and I'll be passing it on to them. What's represented here on the call is a core group of alumni who we know you care about us. And so I think the important points worth mentioning are that obviously we cannot finish this project with our own efforts exclusively. We're trying, we're not giving up, and we are certainly making calls on a daily basis, reaching out to people, foundations, etc. And we're reaching out to you guys because we know that through the extensive network of the people that we've influenced, we can hopefully make this happen. Now, the real challenge is that $2.3 million is not a small amount of money. And we're thinking to break it down. This is really the basis and the core objective of this call. Can we break it down, and from this group, could we focus on perhaps the next $1 million? There are a number of donors out there who are looking to close the project, but I think 2.3 million is perhaps out of their reach. But if we could put ourselves in a position where we could raise another $1 million, I think that could potentially put us in a position to finish the funding for the project. So, we have really stretched ourselves to make this happen. This is a huge undertaking on our behalf. And I guess the call is asking if we ourselves can ask you to stretch with us. This is something that's putting us out of our comfort zone, and your support is valuable, but we're asking for something even more than that. And this is how I'd like to break it down. When we conceived of this project, we conceived of large dedications. Those could be $100,000 or $250,000. But in order to fund a project that's $7.5 million, we came up with an entry-level dedication of $18,000. There's a next level up, which would be $36,000. If it's $18,000 per dedication, if we were to be able to find 56 of these dedications, that would reach $1 million. 56 dedications of 18,000. Alternatively, if we could fund some of them at the level of 36,000, then I just gave an example here. We could do 10 dedications at 36,000, leaving only 36 left at 18,000. Now, 18,000 is not a small amount of money either, but it sounds a lot more manageable than $1 million, for instance. And I guess our challenge is, are we able to find alumni, groups of alumni, families, communities who might be willing to make a dedication of $18,000 over the course of 1 year? Is this possible? Is this feasible? We're hoping that the answer will be a resounding yes. And that is the challenge that we're asking you guys. Is there a way for you guys to accept a challenge by tapping into your personal networks, meaning your family, your friends, your fellow Cornell alumni, encouraging you to go back to your times at Cornell, look through your photographs, see who you went to Chabad with, see what kind of Jewish friends, felt a good feeling when they came through the doors of Chabad, and your local communities. And could you rally them and your connections to help raise a dedication. Now, this could mean, just a few other points here, that we're hoping, obviously, that the optimal would be to pay these dedications out over the course of 1 year. But the idea that you could also make a commitment to a dedication of 18,000 from a friends group, it could also be paid up over the course of 2 years, which means it's a big stretch, it's a big commitment, but this is an imperative that we obviously are trying to accomplish now. And so the challenge would be to go onto our website, to create a team. There's a Teams icon there, and you can create a team by making an initial donation. Your donations can be staggered and scheduled. They don't have to be in a lump sum form. And then reach out to your respective network, whether you're working in tandem with other alumni, with other Chabad Cornell goers that you went to Chabad with when you were at Cornell, or whether you're doing it with family, etc. Challenge yourself, challenge your graduating class. One thought that we had is, would you be willing to come together with other students from your graduating class and make up a dedication? Let's say the class of 2008, we're going to seek to fill a dedication from other 2008 graduating students. And we're open to other suggestions about how you could collaborate with other people to create a team to fund dedication. I think the point of what we're trying to say here is that we need the inclusion of not just you, but we need to reach out beyond our, I guess, regular annual donor base to be able to make this project funded, to make it a success. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly what to do at this point, whether we open it up for your comments, or perhaps we correspond privately after this campaign with each person. Just a couple final thoughts is that we do have a WhatsApp, which is sharing pictures of the campaign as it unfolds, not the campaign, of the building as it unfolds. This is just literally what the building looks like week over week. It's very exciting. And a little bit of a summary of what's happening, pouring the concrete, laying the foundation, putting up walls. And as things develop, you'll see the actual building come to fruition. So if you'd like to join, if this is a free group, it's a broadcast only. It's not a chat. It's just seeing pictures. I post on a weekly basis. And then the final thoughts which I had, would it be helpful amongst us to create a WhatsApp chat or conversation where we could share the successes to help fundraise for this project? That's just one thought. And perhaps I'll send out a post meeting form or survey to get your feedback on whether this is something that you'd like to be a part of. And lastly is asking you guys, and again, this can come privately after this meeting, whether you in your respective network have other suggestions of either foundations, maybe you're connected to families who are known to be very philanthropic, but connections that we right now are not currently aware of. We're encouraging you to come forward if possible and share those with us, make introductions. We'll speak to anyone to see this project funded. Those are the end of my slides. Should we invite people to comment now?
Sure.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anybody has anything to add or to comment or to suggest, please, we need your input, not just financial, but also to brainstorm with us to see how we can make this happen, because it's been quite challenging. The first 5 million has been surprisingly almost miraculous. Three major donors that came to us, we didn't even know about them, that just offered us to help us. So it's like something that we never even imagined could happen, but it happened. But then, I guess God makes miracles, but then he says, I want you to work a little bit too. So we've been working very hard for the last 2.5 million, and it's been hard. It's been hard to finish up the last bit of. So sometimes it's crowd working, right? Working together with a larger group can make what seems insurmountable surmountable.
If anyone would like to comment, Sean.
Hey, sorry, I'm at a loud cafe. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, because I see a lot of young faces too. I graduated 2012 and 2013 Cornell, so I'm in my early 30s. So I wanted to give a pretty large contribution, but I just don't quite have it financially right now. So just for people that are maybe in a similar boat, I have a marketing company, so I've lended some of my marketing resources, to Rabbi Doggy. And I was also thinking, just we've done this with some clients, but I would think it might be something we could do here too. But there's religious grants that we could probably apply to. So there might be some people. I'm just throwing out one suggestion that either your business or where you work might have resources that you could lend to help in a certain way, or maybe you have time to help at like writing for some of these grants, which I just was looking up during the call where there's a lot of religious grants, but someone needs to spend the time to write. So if you let the rabbis and rebbitzins know if you're interested in helping you with time, I think there's some ways we could drive additional fundraising outside of the traditional fundraising routes. But I think we need to be resourceful. So if there's businesses that you run or you work in that might have some resources, like even I'll just throw out another idea. There might someone doesn't like my idea, they're honking at me. But there's some companies that might even pay to meet with students and recruit from Chabad because Cornell is a very good institution. So I could see some corporate companies coming to spend a day with students and spending money to meet with students for their corporate recruiting. I know that they did that undergrad in business school. So I think there's some outside the box ideas. Like we do have to do traditional fundraising, but for those of you who it might be difficult personally to give that large contribution, but you have some outside the box ideas or resources, I think now is a good time to share it on the call or, to write the rabbis or rebbitzins off this call.
Thank you.
Yes, Nikki, just to answer your question in the chat, you asked, do you have any data or estimates on the number of students Chabad can serve now and the expanded number once the new building is complete? I can obviously formulate those, but just in brief, I mean, our main room in the Chabad house can fit comfortably 80 people. Our current Shabbat crowds are somewhere between 120 and 150 on a weekly basis on Friday night. So that's already overflow into the tent that we have on the deck. And we have people in the living room and then people out the front, like Rabbi Eli mentioned. In the new Chabad house, in the dining room, we could fit probably close to 200 students, but that doesn't exclude the current main room that we have. So that's another 80. And then we theoretically could host meals also in the shul, brand new shul and base medrash. I mean, we could be hosting over 300 students in different locations in the new building. So that's perhaps tripling our indoor capacity for meals on Shabbat. Obviously, a bigger building might also lend itself to, employing more staff. That's a decision that Chabad would make, after we get through this hurdle. And that would allow for, more engagement with students as well. But I could summarize those more accurately. Nikki, good question though.
No, I think that's great. Thanks.
Any other comments, guys?
David, have you tried the companies that match contributions to a organization of your choosing or something?
Not specifically. Outside of people's own initiatives when they make gifts to get company matches.
Okay,
Do
that's
you
what I meant.
approaching the company directly or the employees of those companies?
The employees of the companies.
When people do give and they're giving and from a corporate America, I guess they're often aware that there's a matching program, and for many people they do utilize them. But perhaps that's something that would leverage gifts.
I think I don't know how much tap our own network and ask people that have that sort of structure. I don't know how many of us would have that, but something I could give that additional push. And then I have just like a more general question that I don't know if I missed at the beginning, but what's the timeline to raise those funds? And I guess what's the timeline for the funds and why?
The project was initially due to be completed in January, or with potential weather delays even up to March, but actually they're ahead of schedule, and they're suggesting that they might even be completed in December of 24. The actual project itself, the building in occupancy. I mean, realistically, let's go with January 25. So, you know, we're 9 months out. It's very exciting, and then we'll have the use of the building. So obviously, you know, we're engaged in a contract with a developer who's building the building for us. So those, you know, those bills need to be paid in a timely fashion. And so that's why I said ideally or optimally, it would be good to be able to pay off dedications within a year. But we are understanding that if people had more time, they might have access to more resources and maybe make larger dedications. So we're suggesting, you know, it could be up to 2 years. And then there may be some, you know, interim plan that we have to make on our end to make up the difference in the short term.
I think Tamara had a suggestion on the chat.
A fundraising event, a gala in New York City. This is a great idea. Working from Ithaca, it's not so simple. We might maybe put together a group of alumni who could help us put this together on your end. Tamara, do you think, but this is obviously to reach again an audience beyond this circle of alumni, correct?
Yeah, I guess it would be like alumni run, but we would invite like other people. I just saw a few of these be really successful after the October attack, like run, and like different groups were running events to raise money for different causes. And I saw like they would do auctions. I mean, there was like a few ways they would raise money, like ticket prices, auctions at the events. I mean, I don't know. We can brainstorm, but I just events to raise like a substantial amount of
Right.
Well, I was with my brothers, a bunch of business associates, we all together.
Bob. Oh, he's unmuted. Okay. This is a good idea. If we
All
were
right, so
to,
let's be in touch with Tamara after the call and like flesh this out, see if we can flesh this out a little bit. Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah.
if we were to do that, would the beginning of the summer be a time that, you know, I know that New York City has its schedules. People head out to Long Island over the weekends.
I think summer is hard because some people leave, like you said. It's not impossible, but I think if we have more time, maybe like an early fall event would be, or late summer, early fall.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. Great idea.
Hey,
Guys,
thanks for the presentation. So less than a year ago, I was involved in a campaign to raise money for my yeshiva, and the most effective strategy we saw, and this was a smaller scale, we were raising about $250,000, but having, like you mentioned, like teams for different years was very effective. It requires coordination because what we did was there was one ambassador, so to speak, per graduating year. And so you don't want to have 5 teams for the class of 2010 or something. You want to make it coordinated. And
Right.
then those people go to, you know, the people that from their year, because generally speaking, you're closer to the people from your year, and raise the money that way, plus the family, plus friends. That was very effective. There was also, I can't speak to this personally because I'm not Syrian, but there was one Syrian alum who, you know, just given that community is so tight knit, he kind of formed that sort of team. I forgot what he called it, and he reached out much broader than just his year, and to kind of just people in that area in Brooklyn, and he was very effective as well. So if there's any you know, neighborhoods like that where we have alum that are like super close knit, that could be an idea as well.
So class years.
Yeah.
So class years and also some of the closer knit communities, which I think
Yeah.
certainly we've encountered. Thank you. That's a very good suggestion.
Okay. Would anybody else like to offer anything? I'm
Rabbi,
gonna, yes,
how are you?
good.
So I'm not exactly sure the contingent that we have online, but I would imagine that there's maybe a larger group of people that maybe Chabad has contact with in one way or another. Maybe they send them mailings or something along those lines. And I mean, I would imagine, and I think I've seen Chabad send mailings out to these folks. But is there maybe some sort of contact list or registry of people who have been associated with Chabad over time that maybe could benefit from having just a phone call from somebody who feels close to the Chabad cause, and maybe would be willing to call 5-10 people and go that way and see if that can maybe gain some traction.
Meaning to take names in our current support base and to share them with motivated alumni, people that would be willing to do that on this call, and that they would call these people on our behalf. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, there's either that, or we ourselves are trying to be in touch with those people. But we have a number of names for sure. This is a good idea also. This could be, not everyone is comfortable making calls like that. Some people are very good at it. Some people enjoy it.
Hey, Rabbi. So I'm in the young professionals in Atlanta Chabad, and that's exactly what we did. He gave us a list of all the people, and we just broke up into teams, and everyone had 20 or 30 people to call. So I think that's a good idea. I've seen that be successful.
Okay.
And maybe it's the smaller gifts. Maybe the ones you have a deeper relationship are with you and the Revitzes and Rabbi Eli. But maybe the smaller gifts that are, it's hard to reach everyone. Maybe those could be divvied out. Something like that.
Okay.
Right, and I think maybe also if there may be some sort of archival list that you can somehow reach that or maybe with people that you've fallen out of touch with, but we still have some sort of contact, and they maybe have dealt with Chabad many years ago, and they still feel some sort of connection, and a call might be able to get them over the edge and give something.
Okay. Okay, guys, good. You know how to reach us, and I'm not leaving you stranded. We will be in touch with you, but just for the interest of time, I see some people are already leaving. Unless there's anything pressing, Miri, did you want to finish off?
I'll just say I'm just when I got on this call and seeing everyone's names, I'm reminded of the part of the Pesach Seder where we say Dayenu and we list all the wonderful things Hashem does for us. And sort of strange, would it really have been enough if Hashem had done all of the plagues, but not taken us out of Egypt, or brought us to the sea and not split it, or taken us to Mount Sinai, but not given us the Torah? And I feel like just being on this call, I want to say Dayenu, it's amazing just to see all of you and see your support and your love for the work that we do. And, in this week's Parsha, we have Moshe Rabbeinu gathering all the Jewish people and explaining to them the building of the Mishkan and calling on them to give their resources. And he has to tell them at a certain point, Dayenu, it's enough. We have too many resources. So being here on this call with you and seeing your enthusiasm and your support and just the time you've taken, I'm confident that we will have more than enough resources with your support and your help to grow the Jewish community at Cornell and give them fill the need that they have for a new Chabad house. So good night, everyone, and thank you all so much.
We need Miri to speak all the time.
No, Levy, we need you
The
up here
whole
to
time.
speak all the time.
Okay, guys, thank you
All
very
right.
much for the time. We're very touched. I'll be sending out a post meeting survey so that you can submit your ideas, thoughts, and willingness to be involved moving forward. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Night, guys.
Bye.